bit tough. But thankfully, the card we're starting with today, Strength of Will, is named Strength of Will in both Spider-Man and the Omen Paths, which is really nice. So we're playing, we're also playing one Phenomena Recorder in this build too, but this is mainly trying to focus on the Strength of Will, Walking Ballista, Hardened Scales combo, where if you can Strength of Will either a 2/2 Walking Ballista or a creature that has had Walking Ballista's ability Agatha Soul Cauldron, while there's either a Hardened Scales or a Loading Zone in play, it gives it this ability. Target creature you control gains indestructible, and whenever this creature is dealt damage, put that many +1 counters on it. So you can remove a counter from Ballista, deal 1 damage to itself. Because it's indestructible, any amount of damage you deal to it doesn't matter. So you remove 1 counter to get 2, remove 1 counter to get 2, remove 1 counter to get 2. You get to make an infinitely big Walking Ballista, and then you get to use those infinite counters to deal infinite damage. I am also pretty interested that this is just a protection spell, and it's even like a really good protection spell against like red removal, where like if your opponent is going to cast a Galvanic Discharge, I guess the Discharge actually it's really bad against because they just spend 0 energy, but against a Bolt or an Unholy Heat or a Flage, you just get to put 3 counters on your thing, which is pretty dang strong. And so like it's not the best protection spell you could play probably in the main deck, but it is potentially the most powerful you could play even without the combo. And then I really like that this just gives you access to more turn 3 kills, more turn 3 infinite combos. Lets you win if you're really behind. It lets you win out of nowhere. It lets you like kind of play a Splinter Twin style plan where you're putting pressure on your opponent in other ways and you make them tap out, then you just combo kill them. I'm pretty interested in it. I'm also really interested in the camera in this deck. Of course, this is a deck with tons and tons of abilities to copy. The best one being, I think, the modular on Arcbound Ravager seems to be the best thing, where you just get to double the modular off of Ravager, or I guess Zabaz too. But I'm also really interested in like copying the sacrificing of a Hangarback Walker and getting double the tokens or drawing double the cards off Marketback Walker. I will say that the Walker split, I'm just really unsure. I'm really unsure what the best Walker split is. I'm doing 3-2 in favor of Hangarback. I think Hangarback makes you like a little bit more resilient, and maybe it's better with Strength of Will. But I'm really not sure. I think you want at least the first loading zone, but when I was playing this deck previously, I found that drawing multiple copies was really awkward. I've been a pretty big fan of 3 Mox Opals and Hardened Scales lately. It's just not a card you want 2 of in your opening hand, kind of simply put. It's a card that you're usually playing on turn 2. So I've been liking 3 instead of 4. I also think that this is a really good version to be playing Rumble. Some versions are not playing Rumble. Some versions are playing Jean Parmesan, the Gene Pollinator, the Green Manadork. I think that card's fine. It's better if you have a bunch of loading zones. But I think when you're trying to assemble the combo of Scales Ballista, having Rumble that can maybe even like mill over Ballista and find you a Cauldron or dig you for your Scales. I think the Rumbles are like pretty mandatory if you're going to have the Strength of Will combo. I'm kind of up a little bit on the land count as well. And so you can play more Darksteel Citadels, which help the Mox Opals, which typically can be kind of problematic. We're also actually trying Heroic Intervention. This is a card I hate to have to play this like 2-mana reactive card in this very low to the ground proactive deck. But I think Heroic Intervention makes more sense when you also have Strength of Will, where you could against control decks you probably don't want to have the combo, so it's kind of just an easy swap in and out, and your opponent might think you have this card instead of this card, which is kind of nice. I think let's get in there. Let's keep this on the draw. We kind of already had this shell ready to go, and I should say we had played this shell before, where you're like using Satoro plus either Doran or Aether Vial to draw cards, Basim to draw cards, and now there's been extra upgrades with like Halia and now the Arachne combo. I'm very excited for that. I'm going to lead on the Hardened Scales. We did draw a land on the first draw step. So let's hope we draw a land. Yeah, you could use camera to copy Cauldron's ability. I think that's kind of interesting too. There's just a lot to do. Worth trying an Aerith. This combo, without Scales, it's tough if that's what you're talking about. Have I tried Terra Symbiosis in Scales? That is the card draw one, right? I think that card is like just so slow, like nauseatingly slow almost. Probably the Reanimator deck. Plays a frog. Let's go ahead and draw a land. Great, great, great. Hopefully we don't get Archon this turn. Seems likely that we were going to get Archon here. All right, so let's discard. Am I going to need the Strength of Will to win the game? Maybe. I'm going to discard the... No, I need to cast a Rumble if I don't draw a land. I'll go ahead and just take 2, I think. So we do draw the land. So I think with a land being drawn, what I'd like to do is cast an Ozolith, cast a Hangarback Walker, and then discard the Rumble to the Archon of Cruelty attack here. With the intention of sacking the Walker to the Ozolith and then trying to win by going all in on the Thopter token next turn. My opponent did miss their land drop, notably. Pretty cold to a Thoughtseize. They did draw their 3rd land here. They thought Scour themselves, which means at least they have an Unearth or a Persist in their hand, I think, if they're just going to, like, thirsty Scour there. Now, them not milling a creature doesn't mean they bricked, because they could still discard something to the Frog, for whatever that's worth. Sack 1, 2, trigger the Ozolith. So we have 4 creatures in play to block. This right here is 8 plus 5, which is lethal. So I think I just need to put 1 in front of the Frog. We should have pretty close to lethal on the backswing. That should be lethal. Now, my opponent just holding up a removal spell, I think, is unfortunately going to be too much for me to beat. With no way to play around it, right? Yeah, I think we're just got to go in and hope my opponent somehow has nothing. Seems incredibly unlikely, but sometimes you just got to go through the motions. I don't know why they wouldn't have cast push already. Just letting me go through the motions for no reason. Okay. I guess, I don't know. The game, 2 we go. We're on the draw against Reanimator. We've got the Lantern in the main deck. We also have the main deck Cauldron, so we're not like super loaded on Graveyard Hate in the board. I do like Needle. I like that Needle can hit Frog or Emperor. I think that's pretty nice. I think we're gonna go down at least 1 Strength of Will. They have a lot of cheap interaction, and I think like the combo's not gonna be super nice against them in general. We want to cut the Haywire Mite. I do think the Cage is worth bringing in, despite not stopping Emperor of Bones. It stopping Endurance and Unearth and Persist should be good enough. I think the Welding Jar is also probably worth bringing in. Anything particularly bad? I think no. I think I do like that this does like protect against everything. Can you also like maybe block like an Archon of Cruelty and get a ton of counters? Let's leave 2 in for testing purposes, and sometimes I'll trim a Zabaz. Let me trim a Loading Zone. For the Pro Tour, do we get a look at the meta today? Was Deck Submission yesterday? Deck Submission was yesterday. I don't know when they're dropping the metagame breakdown. Excited to see what it is, of course. Okay, nice looking hand. Although we are, kind of, or maybe rather weak to a Thoughtseize on the Marketback Walker. Although we have a lot of good top decks if that happens. I may consider using Arcane Proxy and consult the star charts for the Teamer Omniscience deck. So I did consider consult. Consult, I think, is like it's worse than Flame of Ador. It's worse than Stock Up for the most part. Like it's just not that good when you have Omniscience in play because you don't get the 2 cards, and getting the 2 cards is really important. I don't know exactly what the appeal of Arcane Proxy is. Being 2 types is kind of cool, but like the card quality there is just low. Like that Arcane Proxy just isn't that good of a card, you know. And so I think a big part of the Teamer Omniscience deck is just maintaining as high card quality as you possibly can, for whatever that's worth. That's an interesting draw. So I've got a few options here. I can go like Hardened Scales, Pithing Needle, and in an attempt to to play around consigned to memory, which they could have. I also being able to like needle a frog this turn is kind of appealing. I could just slam the Cauldron and trade it for a consign, which I also don't like that much. I think I'm gonna go needle plus scales. Did I see the new Bitter Blossom spoiler from yesterday? I'll tell you what. I'm on day 3 of Spider-Man brews. I'm not really trying to think about new spoilers right now. The spoiler schedule for Magic cards is awful right now. They just keep spoiling things like during set release. It's like another set. I don't understand why they can't just why they cannot just push it back like a week or two. I'm losing my mind over here, but I'm not interested in new spoilers at the moment. They're leaks. Like I'm also not interested in leaks. But that's better. They I guess I shouldn't be blaming the schedule if they're leaks. Although the schedule has been like this a lot lately, so it's very very hard to get super invested during set release. Okay, so I do think I just want to play the Ballista. If this gets countered, this is the best thing to Cauldron. Kind of weak to a Fatal Push, though. Is there a deck I'm rooting for this weekend? I don't know. I don't. I would love any like brew to do well, of course. I would love anything like fresh and interesting. I don't exactly expect a lot of like really fresh and interesting stuff. I think for the most part that the decks that are going to do well are going to be decks that you'd kind of expect to do well. But I would love to just be wrong about that. We're getting meltdowned here probably. I guess I didn't need to play the Opal. Yeah, we're cheering for Dingo. We're cheering for our friends. I think the final will be Burn versus Amulet. I think to think that Burn even has any presence at all is very funny. I expect 0 copies of Burn at the PT. Reginald with the 38 months. Thank you. Welcome back. I mean, Hangarback resolved. That's fun. Are there players you're rooting for? I mean, just typically, my friends, like usual, right? I think Dingo more than anybody because Dingo is like okay. All right, they didn't consign last turn. Let's play the Cauldron this turn. I would say I'm rooting for Dingo more than anybody else, but definitely have a lot of pals who I hope to do well. Okay, interesting that they didn't consign. Oh, it's Spell Pierce. Okay, I guess that makes sense. IDK Chandra Incinerate has been a solid burn strategy. Bring out yes. I will gift 10 subscribers, 20 subscribers if there is one person at the Pro Tour who brings Burn. I know it's not the highest stakes, but I just feel very confident that nobody will decide to bring Burn to the PT. They do discard the Archon of Cruelty. They might do this if they didn't have Persist. What's my next big tournament? My next big tournament is Marriage, happening 1 month from tomorrow. Molly with the 26 months, welcome back. Mom with the 50, Reginald with the 38. Thank you all as well. I'm playing Oculus. Will I play the PT? I'm not queued. I've been taking the year off tournament grinding to pursue other projects. Hoping to be back next year. I think we play the Marketback Walker, try to draw some cards here. Definitely blocking here. I might just block like this. Should kill the frog for sure. And I keep, yeah, that seems fine. I guess I could have a removal spell. I guess one problem with this is that my Marketback Walker might not die. Oh, they just killed the Marketback Walker? Let's go. Okay, that's pretty nice. So they got 1 card left in their hand. They flip a frog main phase. I don't know why they do that. Good pickup. Oh, sorry. We might have had lethal if we played the Citadel. I should have double counted. Let's see if our opponent has some interaction. So if I sack here, this is 6, 9, and then yeah, we have exactly 13. So a lot of playing Hardened Scales is knowing when to make your move or not. I think we're actually just so ahead that we just don't need to make a move right now. We have 14. Oh yeah, the second scales. Yeah, I just for some reason I only counted 1 extra from the modular. It's 2 extra. Main phases, a Unearth Cycle. So this was probably the last card in their hand. Yeah, I think we can still chill. Their mana's like really taxed right now. Remember when Hardened Scales was so good, people went Stirrings banned? Well, it was more than that. Where like Stirrings was really, it was like the best card. You could almost argue that it was definitely the best card selection spell, and it was like the best card selection spell in like 3 of the top decks. So it was in KCI, it was in Tron, and it was in Scales. And so, I think that it was an interesting time. Still lethal on board, yeah, but my opponent has mana up, and so we're not gonna play into the possibility of a removal spell when I feel like we have when we're just kind of ahead and we've got a lot of maneuverability here. Did Titan play Stirrings? I feel like that was so long ago if they did. Like, I think what I could do here is I can let them manifest, and then I can just level the Ballista and then kill both manifest, and then attack for lethal, and then if they have a removal spell, I just get to kill them. Ooh, I drew the camera. Okay, the camera is a really fun draw. It's a really, really fun draw because I can copy the modular. Now, it's so fun. It's simply too fun. Okay, because I can sack the Citadel. Not that I need to sack the Citadel, but I guess we might as well. Then we can go. Although I guess the problem with that is, okay. So let me make sure I understand this. I have the Phenomena Recorder in play. I can sacrifice the Ravager to try to put let's go and just sack the Citadel first, but to put lethal counters on the Ballista. If my opponent responds with a removal spell on the Ballista, what I should be able to do is just copy the ability, and that should go on the stack before the removal spell resolves, right? So I think we'll just do this now. We could attack first, but it seems like we're just kind of going through the motions. Okay, so modular onto the Ballista. They do have the Fatal Push. I copy the modular. Do they have 2 Fatal Pushes as their last 2 cards? Let's go. Cool play alert. Let's go. I really like the camera. Cool play alert. Something no one thought was possible in Modern. It'll be like a Dismember on the draw. I think I'll go -1 strength of will, +1 on the draw. I wanted to play more cameras, but I felt that it was tough to include, and I think it's just probably better as a 2 to target. Maybe get a Cauldron on the draw against Reanimator. No 1-drops on the draw is tough. Maybe we'll draw 1, but I think we got to keep. Duro at 3 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Can you get 2 Walker or Sephiroth emblems with camera? Yeah. Copying the Tezzeret ultimate is something that I'm pretty invested in. Like a more Tezzeret focused like blue shell. When you activate the camera, you should say you're taking a picture. I could, yeah. I am trying to use the Omen Path versions more often because I saw a good amount of YouTube comments like, I'm confused because you're not saying the name of the card in your hand. I understand. It's all very confusing. We're all in this together, and I will try to do better. So they probably have 2 1-mana interactive spells. Let's go ahead and just not get our Cauldron spell pierced. And then if the Rumble resolves, we can double spell next turn, hopefully. And if it gets pierced, then that's a win because they're not piercing my Cauldron. And so there's a good chance they also have a push or a bolt here. Although it's kind of interesting they wouldn't kill the Zabaz for mana efficiency. I wonder what that says about their hand. Sephiroth Emblem is replaced with effect on trigger. Oh, I thought it was a trigger. It's been a little while since I cast the card, I guess. So let's start off by attacking from 1 again. I think I'm just going to play the Marketback Walker here. We think our opponent has removal spell, so maybe they have a consign. But if they just have removal spell here, this is, you know, a nice 2-for-1 against the removal spell. Yeah, we could modular the Zabaz over, but I think we'll just take the 2-for-1, I think. Thankfully, he doesn't mill a creature. Did tap their blue source for this. Alright, obviously had to because it's Scour, but you might not have another blue source. Although here's a Thoughtseize, which will almost definitely take my Cauldron. Let's take the Cauldron. 4 cards in their hand, and they miss their land drop. Gonna kill something here. You think our opponent has a Persist or an Unearth in their hand? Definitely 4 spells. So I think one of their cards is Persist or an Unearth. They might have 2. They probably have 1 removal spell. They kill the Hangarback Walker, which is an interesting call. They might have like an Archon stuck in their hand. They have a Meltdown. No, not a Meltdown, an Oculus. Fair enough. So, have a lot of good top decks. Know how I feel about this one. Has there ever been a Death Touch creature that's good in Scales? Death Touch was Cauldron Ballista is so cool. I know everybody's also always so thirsty for Death Touch Ballista. You can play Basilisk Caller if you think somehow that's a well-positioned plan. Not really any other good options or anything even close to an option. Okay, again, gonna be tough to maneuver without some good top decks. Second Zabaz is interesting. So I think we want to put this on the bigger Ballista where we just have a little bit of a cleaner attack with it. Why wouldn't they attack with the Manifest? I mean, I think it was a mistake. I don't think it was too much more complicated than they probably just should have, huh? So I could... Maybe I should have leveled this up. I could have maybe just killed the Oculus. Probably not better. Got 4 cards in their hand. Thankfully, their non-Emperor Bones reanimation effects are turned off, and we have Ballista for Emperor. So they start off by discarding a Persist. Maybe there's a second Oculus in the hand. Flies the Frog. And attacks with just the Frog. Do I want to play a longer game, or do I want to try to play a shorter game? I think I want to try to play a longer game. Wasn't expecting them to cast a spell here. They cycle Unearth. Well, this is not probably the best time to do that. Oh, I guess sorry, this damage hasn't resolved. Okay, so now they discard another card. Yeah, so I can basically cash in this Ballista plus the activation plus the Thopter to discard their hand and to kill the Frog, which it just seems like a good exchange for me. Okay, then they discard they discarded response to me activating this. So like, do I still want to make this exchange? I think so. It's a little bit weird. Obviously, I still have to fight through the Oculus, but I do have a lot of good top decks. Best top deck, I think, is Cauldron. So their hand did end up being all garbage, which kind of funny to be disappointed in that. Scales would be a good top deck. Okay, that was what I said what I thought was the best top deck. So let's just go ahead and main phase Cauldron the Hangarback Walker. And then main phase. Why don't I have the ability to... Why does this Ballista not have the ability to tap and put a counter on itself? The Zabaz does. Mark with the 44. Thanks, welcome back. Did their Oculus not trigger manifest? Cage stops the Oculus manifest. Bugged for 5 months or something. Wait, so the bug is specifically Ballista doesn't get Hangarback Walker's ability? Pretty annoying. Wait your card check, but added white to it. The deck felt super good. Johnny with Nightmare. Yeah, I do think being Mardu seems good. We'll circle back for sure. They don't know why. Okay. It's funny. Ballista also doesn't get Ravager's ability. I guess I'm sad I don't know about this. Oh, sorry. I should have discarded this to the Psychic Frog ability. Affected. We should still Cauldron here. Maybe we should have Cauldron the Ballista, so I just always have lethal. Oh, sorry, I should have activated the Zabaz again too. Sorry, I'm a little tilted, I guess. We're gonna just take 5 again next turn, though. I should have also not tapped the Stomping Ground. I don't know. Lately, I feel like something like this goes wrong, and then I just lose all my focus. Slowbro with the 61. Thanks, welcome back. We do win anyways. I'm gonna mulligan this on the draw. Could probably find a keep on the play. If Cage is in the field, does Oculus try to manifest and both cards go to the graveyard? It felt like the Oculus wasn't triggering there, but I think that it should be how it happens. This long and forgotten brew has been revitalized thanks to unbanning in a secretly broken Spider-Man card. Click here to find out. Now that's clickbait. It does look pretty fun. All right. Well, we have the combo minus Ballista. Oh, Thoughtseize my scales. Thank you. Did you manage to play the non-duelist deck? We did. I think 1-2'd, sadly. Marcus Camera can copy both Cascade and Ritual Triggers. Yeah, but then you don't want to Cascade into it, so it's kind of a non-starter for the deck. It's also just so mana intensive, and the problem with the Cascade Ritual deck is really good when it gets going. It is a pretty slow deck, and just anything that makes the deck slower, I just can't focus on. I think. So they Force of Will that pitching bending. So good news is they're Gorios. We got a Lantern here, and we got a second Scales. Yeah, Camera can copy fetch land. So I'm trying to look into a more... I don't know if I want to be mono blue, mono white, blue white, but I'm interested in copying Teferi minus fetch land, Solitude, Field of Ruin, White Orchid Phantom, Jace the Mind Sculptor Ultimate came up, or not Ultimate, Brainstorm came up. A lot of interesting stuff. So if I cast this first, they might Mending in response to look for another Force. Very minor, but I just think it's probably technically the right one to play first here. I haven't really looked at the art. Oh, this is a Bloomburrow? Oh, okay. We got a sick card out of Omen Paths. Yeah, camera just does a lot. So I was really trying to like hammer out a good looking build for that. Instead, I built this and then the Relic of Legends deck that's in the Mox field. But we'll get around to it. It was a long first match. So they graveyard a Fatal Push here. Yeah, Strength of Will plus Ballista plus the Scales is infinite. That's the combo. I think 4 looting is mandatory in the Carnage deck. Probably. I mean, I would be hard pressed to try to not play it. Like looting into Carnage is a really powerful turn 3. You have a really hard time also having very good Carnage turns without like either looting or unearth for a discard effect. And to unearth a discard effect, that's also best with looting. Yeah, this is the first thing with the deck. I know we're 46 minutes into the stream. This is actually the 4th game we've played, match number 2. So they play an untapped Godless Shrine. They got 4 cards in their hand. Fun Raveler. Probably plussing. Pause on the upkeep. 3rd Hardened Scales. I spent 3 looting, 3 FOMOs, 2 bitter triumphs. I think it's a little bit insane to play only 3 faithless lootings. I don't even know what we're talking about. I think it's just ridiculous to even, I don't know. Bitter triumph also kind of sucks, but especially if you're playing a Johnny now, you just should have enough removal. Okay, they bounced the Haywire Mite, which is interesting. Array with the tier 1 for 3 months in advance. Thanks so much. Oh, in my opinion, I know, but I'm just playing this deck. I'll build the deck again later. It's okay. But you got my opinion. Play 4th Faithless Looting. It does seem very mandatory to me. All right, so Urza Saga is a nice pickup, especially since they've already minus their Teferi. Does stink to not have the Strength of Will up, though. Is the Omen Path camera like Vicious camera? It's Phenomena Recorder. I think it's like Duskborn flavored, like you're taking pictures of the ghosts and stuff. So they graveyard an Ephemerate and they graveyard an Island. And then they crack the fetch. How's the Carnage deck? We 3-2'd with it. I thought it looked pretty cool. We'll definitely circle back to it. I know people are really excited about Carnage. I think like the archetypes that Carnage goes into are just kind of like not all that strong, but I do think that there's room for improvement. I think we could try a Mardu build. We could try a Grixis build with Frog. We could try an Asmo version. We could try more of like a Stitcher Supplier build, which is also something I want to be doing with Eddie. Like, it'd be cool to play both of them. And like Carnage back in Eddie does sound pretty fun. So they discarded an Ephemerate, so they almost definitely have an Ephemerate here. I might sack a Lantern in the turn. Yeah, I know about the Carnage image stuff. I think going Grixis for that kind of plan is kind of interesting. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to draw Ballista or like Rumble plus Rumble into Ballista and also have drawn a land. I know there's a Grixis Mayhem land. I don't know how in on that card you want to be, but it is probably worth testing. It enters tapped, which is, you know, sucks. So we draw a Cauldron. Any good Spider-Man cards for the Lutri deck? I think no. Good double check. Nothing at least obvious this time. They bounce the Cauldron. I guess we'll target the Mending in response, but this probably means that they have Gorios plus Atraxa for the Frog here. Might also just be digging for it. They discard the Atraxa. Sorry for the pace of play for the first 2 matches. Not a lot we could do about it, of course. Let's switch to Arena. Okay, we're going to bring in the Vexing Bauble. We're going to bring in the Grafdigger's Cage. We're going to cut the Haywire Mite again. They do usually have some Wrath of Skies in the sideboard. I do think against the Solitude deck, the Strength of Wills probably aren't something we want. I could play like 2 Heroic Intervention. We could also potentially play the Welding Jar. Probably not the Welding Jar. I do like Needle a little bit less against them. Should still be okay. Let's try it. Might be best to move the Haywire Mite to the sideboard. I feel like I haven't been loving it in the main deck. The combo is Hardened Scales, Ballista Strength with counters double. Yes, that's the combo. Is Orb worth for Atraxa? Oh, Orb is, I guess, worth it just kind of also for Solitude, too. Let me cut a Rumble. A little bit worse when you bring in the interventions. Very excited for the backup deck. Like, this was like such a fun shell we found a while ago where you just like, you draw a bunch of cards with Basim and Satoro. Now you also get to draw cards with Halia, trigger Arbaz a lot. Norn, the mana is like perfect. Very excited for backup deck. Just one orb. There's just one orb today. You could play more. It's hard to play a lot. Okay, I think let's slam the Cauldron here. See if they get consigned. Can play our whole hand next turn. Hey, you're stealing my new humans build. How dare you? How close is your build to ours? Where's the PT being played? Atlanta. Sorry, I meant to Excel land. Alright, we'll start off with a Rumble. So there's a cage for a lot of very good options here. Seems like I've got to take the Scales though. Probably should have tapped where I have the Forest step instead of the Grove. I guess it's a little... The Mox Opal makes things a little bit weird here. Yeah, I don't see a lot of a reason to run up the Mox Opal into like a Wrath of Skies. We test a Carnage. We played a Carnage deck. We 3-2'd with it. We'll definitely play some more of it. I kind of like to just play like every card like once or twice, although the recorder showing up in a lot of decks because it's a tougher one to build with. But I like to just play every deck a little bit before like focusing in. Evoking a Solitude first, pitching a Mending. Let's get a 10-minute up on the clock prediction. Then they discard a Mending. They also discard a Riddler, so they're gonna play another Riddler here and kind of go for the extra card draw. Do they have the Ephemerate? Does the plus 10 minute pay if you hit the gap or if the match ends with the gap? If I hit the gap, the match will end with the gap, but just if it hits, I guess. It's never happened that an opponent who's playing so slow that they get under 10 minutes starts playing fast enough that they start to pass me in time. I guess, you know, anything's possible in this world we live in, but I wouldn't be too worried about that. We'll play the Walker first. If I had to brew a deck featuring Jade Avenger, what would it be like? Here's what it would be like. What's up, Spikelings? Today we're playing Jade Avenger in Modern. This is a shitty 2-mana 2/2 Bushido, but it's my meme card. Look, I've got my name on Jade Avenger here. We're playing it alongside 71 actual playable cards, and when we draw Jade Avenger, it's so silly. It's so goofy. Every time we draw Jade Avenger, I can't believe I was so wacky that I put it in the deck. Jade Avenger in Modern, can you believe it? That's what it would be like. That's what it would be like. And then I'd be much more popular. So I think I'm going to go block and then activate the Cauldron. I'd activate on the Hangarback Walker, otherwise they can exile the creatures from their yard. Okay, they fly, so not an option anymore. This Wrath X equals 1. It's interesting. Obviously can't beat Wrath X equals 2. But they get to kill my Opal, my Scales, and my Walker, but then I get 4 tokens. And I still have the Cauldron. And the Orb. Oh, they don't pay 1? They leave me with Hardened Scales. Does this mean they have a... I guess this means they have a second Wrath. Which is no bueno. Do we somehow have lethal? So I can go Ballista, X equals 2 for 3/3. Ping them down to 11. Cauldron a Ballista. Attack them for 7 down to 4. And then I can... I'll be 2 damage short. What happens if I go Ballista, X equals 0? Cauldron the Ballista, then this is a 3/3, then I activate, then it's a 5/5. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 minus 4, or 8 plus 4 is 12. So it's that's the same damage? So it's 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 is 11. So 11 or 12. 12 seems higher. Don't need to be very worried about Atraxa because we've got the Orb in play. And then if they do have another Wrath X equals 2, this puts us in a spot where another Ballista is lethal top deck, right? So they discard a Thoughtseize. They discard another Thoughtseize. This Spider-Man, very similar. -2 Jarena, -2 Norin, +1 to all the other legends except for Arachne. I have 4 Arachnes. Oh, -1. Oh, sorry, for 4 Lieutenant 4 Champion. So yeah, the problem with like Lieutenant Champion is like you can't even like really cast them. Like you have 8 of the legend lands in the deck, and so you have only 11 lands that cast it. You also have Vial though, so maybe it's fine. But that's kind of my biggest problem. If they were like really easily castable, maybe you could or should still play them. Yeah, the prediction is that we'd have more than 10 minutes on the clock. So right now we have 8.5 minutes. Although if they cast a Ratha's guys here, I guess we'll spend a little bit of time trying to top deck a Ballista. If my opponent has a Ratha's guys and this turn took, 3 minutes, it's very annoying. So thankfully the Riddler still gets exiled and they just concede. Nice. So we get to go to game 3. Very cool. On the draw, the Hero Convention is just even harder to hold up. Although maybe I do want to bring in the Welding Jar. I don't know, just like Welding Jar against Wrath, it just isn't very good. That's the problem with bringing it in against Wrath. How is my book and outside projects going? They're going well. Like with the wedding ramping up, like I have not been as focused on them, but I've got like 30,000 words in the book. I've got I think 18 chapters done. The game is going really well, although we're kind of like in a weird period where we're doing like a lot of like there's just like a lot of stuff that has to happen before like the next phase gets started. So it's going well, just on the marathon in the middle, as some author described. Let's run a less all-in combo. Cosmic Grand Zenith Humans that just runs Arachne, Spider-Man, Relic of Legends. Just good cards that instantly win the game. I see. How do you have time for 2 outside projects? I don't know. I work 7 days a week. and a lot of it's like, you know, like when it comes to the game, like, or the book, like a lot of days it's just like an hour a day, or you know, some days I don't work on either. Some days on Sundays I work on all 3 really hard all day. On Sundays I just do kind of nothing else besides work on the stream, the game, and the books. And getting up early and exercising has really helped a lot with my energy too. I just have a lot more energy than I used to. It's been honestly a big part of it as well. Skirk with the diamond, thanks, welcome back. May your marriage be happy and fill the world with spikelings. Hell yeah. Yeah, I think they're all going to be shorter than me because Esther is pretty short. Did my opponent F6 through their turn? Seems kind of likely. What do we want to do this turn? I guess I want to play the Saga. And I think I want to play the Rumble. So it's good to have both modular creatures in play at the same time if possible. Although we don't have a very good pick up here. I guess I'm going to take the Needle. What time to get up to exercise? It depends on what I'm doing in the morning. So like if I'm gonna go like run on some hiking trails, I have to get up at like 6:30. And if I'm gonna just do the exercise bike, I get up like around 7. And then if I'm weightlifting, I can get up at like 7:30. Yeah, this has been happening for a while. Depresso is that people on Discord are impersonating content creators. And someone's been impersonating me for like years at this point. And I don't really know why they're doing it, or I guess I know why they're doing it. They're trying to scam you out of money, but you're right, that is not me. All right, so I think I want to play the Ravager and the Zabaz this turn, so that if my opponent does have, if they do have Wrath Disguise, I can keep a pretty big Ravager, and I can sack the Needle too. Aren't I bulking right now? Or am I bulking? So I've stopped the bulk cutting cycle completely. I feel that it's like pretty unhealthy for me, at least. I really didn't love like when I'm cutting, it feels like my stomach is so small and it's like it's uncomfortable to start eating a lot again for bulking, and I disliked being real bloated for the bulk, and it wasn't very productive after a year of like bulk and cutting cycles. So I'm just on a recompositions thing where I eat about 2,200 calories a day. I exercise 3 days and then 1 day off. I'm on my off day at the moment, or today. And I've just been steadily like gaining muscle and losing weight for a while now. Okay, so we're gonna get an Ozolith. Could get a Vexing Bauble too. Vexing Bauble is pretty sneaky. So they surgical Urza Saga for a mana in response to Agatha's Soul Cauldron. They probably should have surgicaled whatever I was going to Cauldron. Yeah, long games. We're an hour, 10 minutes into the stream. This is match number 2. Well, at least we're probably going to be 2-0. Oh, sorry. I forgot that we have the needle on the frog. We should have attacked with the Zabaz too, I think. PT metagame. Okay, give me let me I guess well our opponent's playing slow, but we also have that plus 10 minutes. We're 9 minutes here, so wow, Esper Goryo's is the most popular deck? That surprises me. I mean, I thought Goryo's would be popular. I knew that Belcher was on the big upswing. I'm surprised Boros is 3rd, but not by a huge margin. Okay, we'll go over this in a second. Actually, Other is the most popular. I could maybe I should have just modulated over. Nah. Okay, so they're down to 15. Do they have the Fatal Push? They surgical the Zabaz. Okay. Goros had 63% win rate plus big tournament. I mean, I think Goryo's is great. I think it's an awesome choice. All right, so this is 9 days. Okay, they literally can't have anything besides Consign to stop the modular triggered ability. So they have Consign. I don't really believe them. After an hour and 13 minutes, we do advance to be 2-0. Sorry to the believers. We only got 9 minutes, 30-ish seconds ahead on clock. Very odd third match here. Yeah, we have 2/3 of the combo. Let's go and keep this. We were talking about how, like, if we felt like Affinity has fallen off so much that it might just be a good choice. We were talking about how it's fallen off so much that it might just be, again, just it's like come back around to being a pretty good metagame choice, which we weren't really sure of, but it seems like some people think that. And we'll see if that ends up being the case. Having this Boseiju is pretty nice. 15 Amulet gamers, 5% of the field. Honestly, not a very good metagame for it, I think. Just with I think Goros and Belcher are actually two tough matchups for Amulet, so obviously I think Belcher is much better against Amulet than Esper is, but it kind of depends on like how many subtleties Esper has in the 75 too. If they just stop playing many subtleties, maybe it's not even that good. Ooh, I can Peter Parker's camera or Phenomena Recorder the Boseiju. But I think we do that next turn and we Haywire Mite the treasure token this turn, so we can set up for the free double stone rain or free double stone rain next turn. Very interested in seeing what the other breakdown is. Only 3 Grixis. Yeah, I mean, I do mostly think that Grixis is like kind of just a worse Esper. Like I don't think there's like a lot of a reason to play Grixis over Esper. Okay, so we don't have Metalcraft, so we can't copy the Boseiju. So I guess we cast the Rumble. Looking for a Scales to combo off with. We just find a land. Pretty tough brick. Might be bad to play the Ballista here since we're not able to combo if we draw the Scales. What matchup is worse without subtlety? Esper Goryo's versus Titan. Like if Esper Goryo's has subtleties in the 75, it's like it's pretty tough for Amulet because they just get to like draw so many cards and like subtlety and like race you. With if you have no subtleties, it's like I think it's a good matchup for Amulet. So it like really hinges there. Okay, sorry, they Spikefield Hazard my Ballista. Too busy looking at the PT metagame. They play an untapped Mystic Peak, probably to flashback Strike It Rich. They are down to 7 live. 1 Storm player. No, yeah. Where do you see the full list? Okay, I'm holding control. Maybe we should be playing. Wait, am I playing 2 Boseijus? I had 2 Boseijus in one draft here. It says, "Oh hell nah." Okay, to cast a Valakut Awakening. 13 Azorius Blink. I do think that this deck is going to be pretty good. I hope so. 12 Prowess. I think Prowess will do bad. 3 Mill players. Interesting. 16 or 3 Jeskai players. 3 Esper. Wait, is Esper midrange different from Esper Blink? Oh, they're casting a Ritual. Wait, am I dead here? Wait, there are 4 cards where Ritual, Ironcrag Feet, Stormscale Scion. That's pretty bad. And they haste off the Bitter Union. Very cool. What's Dingo on? Dingo told me he was either going to play Titan or Neoform. I didn't hear back what his final choice was. Okay, we're going to bring in the Needle for Belcher. Cut the Lantern and click submit. Finally, a fast matchup. Oh, Esper mid-tide. Okay, that makes sense. One Esper Control Gamer. One Jeskai Affinity. One Jeskai Ascendancy. One Orzhov Blink. One Brood Scale. One Wizard Gamer. One Ruby Storm. One Dimir Murktide. One Grixis Murktide. Jeskai Blink. One Yawgmoth Gamer. Cool. It's weird that there's like Jeskai Control is separate from Jeskai Orm's Chant. 2 Sam Combo, 2 Golgari Brood Scale, 2 Mono Green, so 5 Brood Scale total. Cool. Pretty healthy breakdown overall, I think. Let's mulligan this on the play. No burn. I mean, of course there's not going to be burn. Of course, I'm so sorry, burn gamers. I love how much hope you have in your hearts, though. Yogg actually good in this meta? So what is it about Yogg that you like in the metagame? Just sincerely, genuinely asking. Esper just for Frog? I think so, yeah. Oh, sorry. No, I need to play the Ozolith first. I don't know why I was thinking I drew the Jum and then my whole brain melted. Sorry. Why is Burn badly positioned in this meta? It's literally good against no deck, I think, or almost no deck. Maybe it's probably okay against Tron. Maybe you're okay against Belcher because they deal themselves a lot of damage, but it's like Boros Synergy is a deck that's main decking Guide of Souls, Flage, Ocelot Pride, has a pretty painless mana base, or relatively painless mana base, and has like infinite infinite removal. It's like just about as bad as it gets. Okay, Red Belcher, tough matchup, 2-1. Happy for a fast match though. Like Titan is like historically like, well, I'm going to lunch. I'm at Burn and I queued against Amulet Titan. Lunchtime. Will be a good blue-black deck in Modern. I'm still pretty nearly into black a lot. Esper Reanimator is probably the best one. Like the Quantum Riddler just made it to where your like if your opponent's like graveyard hate is just not that effective against you because you just have so much. They have double Leyland, so Haywire Mite's not gonna be that effective. Like Quantum Riddler plus Frog plus Ephemerate plus like Solitude Ephemerate and plus all your cheap interaction means that, like Graveyard Hate is just not that effective against the Reanimator deck. We saw no twin, of course. First modern PT without burn. I would be shocked if anybody registered burn at the last at PT Nadu, but I suppose I don't remember. Yeah, it'd be sad if they. I guess if they have the Cyan, we can Cauldron Haywire Mite. What deck do I hope will win the event? I don't know. I hope Dingo wins. Kind of surprised to see 12 Zoo players. The Zoo players really like their deck. I don't know. We're playing in Zoo right now. Pretty sure my friend did or me that was PT Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I'm not sure. I do think I played against a burn player at PT Lord of the Rings as Yawgmoth, and actually that was a really bad matchup. So I did play against Burn at PT Lord of the Rings. I looked up. There's 3 Boros Burn players for PT MH3. Wow, hilarious choice. The Boros Synergy Nadu PT or Plan Burn maybe. Although honestly, Harsh Spintor against Nadu sometimes did something. Okay, so they Leyline Binding my Haywire Mite, or sorry, my Hangarback Walker, and then they hold up some mana. We drew a Phenomena Recorder. So I think I'm gonna get a Mox Opal. Wait, they have Consign? Dude, the Domain Zoo players are all like, I've got it. We're main decking Consign. And you know what? They're just kind of right. Force of Vigor was only the 7th most popular deck, because before it popped off. I remember it being more popular than that, but I guess I misremembered. I thought it was more popular than 7th. I thought it was like 3 or 4. It's obviously been so long. So they haste a Ragavan off of Arena, and then they just let the other mana go away. Okay. Surprised by only one Ruby Storm player. I am also kind of Ruby Storm actually looks kind of good for the meta. Although maybe you kind of always say that. All right, let's get the Opal. So we're gonna cast the Rumble first. We can tap that to drum, and obviously a sequence here. Loading zone's kind of interesting. So I could go. Probably just grab a Hangarback Walker instead, though. Maybe Zabaz. So we're gonna have 3 mana after this. I do want to set up to Phenomena Recorder the modular. So I'm pretty interested in having the Ravager block the Ragavan, so that I get the extra modular and then I can Cauldron the Ravager. I did say yesterday, like Storm had such a bad performance at PT MH3 that I thought that people would just really want to stay away from it. But looking at the metagame, like I think I guess I don't know how it is against Belcher. It's probably not that good against Belcher, but I think it's probably pretty good against the majority of the rest of the field. And I would expect there to be little Storm hate too. So maybe a great choice. Yeah, I remember it was so awful last time, but I think this was partially because like the format was a lot more broken, and partially because, the format was a lot more broken, and partially because there's a lot of hate cards. But if the format is more balanced and there are less hate cards, you know, it's maybe not all that complicated. Like Dingo got his. Oh, sorry, I meant to play the scales. It's hard to walk and talk sometimes. Shouldn't be in that bad a position though. I meant to play the scales and then play the Zabaz. Sleep. Goryo's and Belcher are rough for Storm. Really? I feel like I thought they're good against Belcher. Or sorry, good against Goryo's. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Like just because you have Force of Negation in your deck, I don't think they're that scary. I don't think it's like a super lopsided matchup either way. I was really hoping we could camera the Ravager, but we win that one. So up a game against Domain Zoo. Now I will say we have not Strength of Will comboed once. We're gonna keep in the Strength of Wills this game. I think. They do usually bring in some Wrath of Skies. I want to keep it to one Haywire. I might not bring in the second. I want to cut the Lantern because we just have a Cauldron for their Flasias. Oh, I do have 2 Torpor Orbs in my sideboard. I thought I only had 1. That's why someone earlier said 1. I thought I only had 1. Let's play 1 Heroic Intervention. No, I'll put 2. And then I guess I don't think I care that much about Dismember or Force of Vigor. Probably 1 Force of Vigor, actually. Force of Vigor's for sure. I think they're okay. They're definitely better on the draw. But I just think that like the Cauldron Haywire Mite makes you really resilient against ley lines. But I think on the draw it's better too. So maybe you should have 2 on the draw, 1 on the play. White Orchid seems good against Belcher and Saga decks. I mean, it's okay against Saga, but I do think it's good. Combos Hardened Scales, Strength of Will, Ravager, Ballista. You don't need the Ravager, you just need the Ballista. Or a Cauldron Ballista. Apparently both Spider Sense and Superior Spider-Man made it into decks for the new set. I don't even know what Spider Sense is. Wait, is Spider Sense the Blink card? Like the Blink Artifacts card? We haven't tested that one yet. Oh, this one, yeah. Yeah, I do think this card's interesting. It's not one that we've tested yet. It's interesting that it already made it. I wonder what deck is playing it. It is one that we wanted to try. And then Superior Spider-Man is which one? That's the Reanimator one. That's just that 4-mana like reanimation spell. But no 2-mana creature. I think I want to Rumble this turn, set up for a double spell next turn. Let's not play the Saga in case they have Wear Tear and just Time Walk me. Top 8 of the most recent challenge in Affinity. Spider Sense, that is. Yeah, okay, I guess that makes a lot of sense in Affinity, where obviously you have the drums. Okay, there's a Flage, but we have the Cauldron. Obviously you have the drums to like enable the web slinging. And being able to counter Wrath Disguise makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I guess we need to have those on the board, huh? It's kind of like how we were playing Test of Talents in the sideboard of Affinity for a little bit, because it was something that got rid of, like, it obviously countered Wrath Disguise, but it also countered Ephemerate, Prismatic Ending, just like more relevant cards in these matchups. They cast the Ravager. I guess they're going to start making tokens, huh? Okay, great to draw a 1-mana creature. I think we're just going to go ahead and main phase activate so that the Zabaz can't die to a bolt. Hey, Mr. Sari. I don't know if you played the Strength of Will combo yet. We haven't assembled the combo. I think we're about to be 3-1. I say as I summon Wrath Disguise, I guess. I've looked at Electro, possible to Storm card. I think Electro is like clearly worse than Burgi, which is also not good. So I don't really see what the appeal to Electro is. Did summon Wrath Disguise. Probably was better to just hold on to the Saga to play around it. We know one of their 3 cards is a Ragavan, so the Hangarback Walker does play against this kind of well. Yeah, we played Carnage and Rakdos Cathodian Nightmare deck. It was pretty good. We'll play some more of it. Have I speculated on the PT at all? We've kind of talked it out a little bit. The metagame breakdown is a little bit different than I expected. I expected there to be more Boros and less Esper, but I did expect Esper to be popular. I think Belcher was more popular than I thought it would be, but I do think it was a good choice. I did expect there to be no brews, which it seems like there are no brews in the set or in the tournament. Okay, I guess we're gonna draw another Cauldron, or we're gonna go to game 3. Does everyone play Wrath on the side? Yeah, that's an issue for Hardened Scales. We're trying Heroic Intervention, which I think makes more sense. It makes more sense in this build. They're better on the play too. Yeah, I don't think I even care about the Force on the play. But just the Heroic Intervention, I think it makes more sense in this build because you can kind of represent Strength of Will or Intervention, which is kind of interesting. Someone out the Doc Ock Tentacles and Affinity. Yeah, I haven't built Doc Ock Tentacles Affinity. When I keep thinking about the deck, I'm thinking to myself that I'm interested in trying to build that deck with Quantum Riddler, so Quantum Riddler, Kappa Cannoneer, and Thought Monitor as things to put the tentacles onto. And like Quantum Riddler Affinity is something that I think is a little bit underexplored. And then what I really need to do is I need to probably not play so many, or like Pinnacle Emissary just might not be that good in those builds. And it's so hard to not play Pinnacle Emissary. People are playing Lady Octopus. Yeah, we haven't. I'm interested to see what the build is. I didn't get around to testing it yet. When I was working on building it, the builds were like looking really weird. But it's interesting. I guess I should have played the Opal first to play around Stub. Let's go ahead and just take a Boseiju. I think it's a little bit better than the Karplusan Forest. Hard to imagine that it did seem like they paused for a moment. Wait, are they going to stub my Mox Opal? And bolt my spawn? Oh, consign, okay.
Is White Orchid Phantom significantly worse against Charmal, against Tron Eldrazi, or close because it casts her too? Charball is way better. It kills the land, doesn't give them the basic. It's a 4/4 flyer. Orchid being castable turn 2 is relevant, but Charmal is just bigger. Like the fact that it's like a usually 3 mana kill a land and be a 4/4 flyer to pressure them is twice the stats. We draw a Ravager. With the I think with the intervention in our hand, we want to try to get into a spot where we just have more mana in play. And so I think the Urza Saga plays into that kind of well. Or we should be able to just deploy our whole hand next turn with intervention up for the Wrath. Which our opponent almost definitely has if they're not playing 2-drop right. Although they might have a Scion on their hand they couldn't cast because they Steve Vince turned 1. She certainly makes more sense in Affinity. A 1-mana legendary creature with relevant abilities turns on Mox Opal. I guess, like, the thing is, you just can't build Affinity very... Like, the way you build Affinity with the card is so weird, because, like, the normal builds don't have that many things that are even good to cast with it. It's just all very odd. But it's possible. So they have a Consign in their hand. Now, if they have Consign and Wrath the Skies, they're going to be inclined to let the Ravager resolve. Alright, if they own my soul by like killing the spawn token and then casting Wrath, good for them. It's just so tough to like sack both spawns and then like still have to hold this up the rest of the game, Okay. Let's let that go into the Ozolith. And the Ballista. Now, them just escaping the Flage is also scary. Wait, they have Wrath the Skies? Why did they cast Wear Tear? We did it! Now, and they'll definitely not have a second Wrath the Skies. Although we have some outs to kill them here. I think Scales kills them. Maybe it's a little short. This is 2/2, 4/4, then 5 over here, then 6 over here. So, yeah, it looks... Yeah, that's Scales at the top is lethal. You know, 3 of our opponents have had Wrath the Skies. Actually, our one loss wasn't even a Wrath the Skies of Gamer. Oh, sorry, only 2 of our opponents had Wrath the Skies. We lost to Red Belcher. All right, let's get a 4-1 prediction. Probably not. I would have been very dubious that it ever like would have been paid in the first place, but also like at that time in my life, like I don't know, like the Pro Tour a bit more than just anything in the world, and like I think like I queued for my first Pro Tour shortly after the $50,000 seance bounty. But like I even think still like I think like tainting like your career as a professional Magic player by like memeing and collecting the $50,000 to artificially inflate the market, like I don't like that would just have made me sick. It's the idea still would have made me sick, or still makes me sick. So not that interested, I guess. Yeah, mill matchup should actually be pretty fun. Don't say that often. Yeah, Gamba is live here. That's some pretty fast opponents. Feels good. Well, we are 2 hours in, and this is our second, or this is our first league, but our first 2 opponents were really slow. But finally, it did thankfully speed up. Yeah. So we mill a Hangarback Walker. Thank you to the crabs. Let me go ahead and Cauldron before they have the opportunity to draw the surgical, maybe. Mill's a nightmare match? Okay, that's true. Tasha's is really good against us, but I don't know. I think it's a fun match where they're like milling stuff for my Cauldron here. I don't think I want to sack the Citadel. So we do build the Ballista. Do we get one shot by Tasha's? We have 6 cards left in our deck. Work with that. Should have some lethal draws. Okay, well, I am -1 counter here because a Cauldron is apparently bugged. How long, Mr. Sari? How long has this been a thing? I guess we did hear about this earlier. If we lose because we're just -1 counter here, it is incredibly annoying. Second time the bug has come up. 4 months, yeah. Sorry, I don't know how I guess I've been too banned to hear about it, huh? What's the? I couldn't put a counter on the Ravager with the Ballista. Flying with the Zabaz might be the best path for lethal here, so we could go like. We're not gonna. We have to spend the mana. I can still remove counters, so we can. I guess the problem is I don't have the Ravager under the Cauldron, so I can't. Oh no, that shouldn't be a problem. So I can go. No, it is a problem because I can't grow this first for the Ozolith. I don't know. Should I be looking at the flying line first? I don't know. So I'm gonna go sack Zabaz, put 1 counter on the Ozolith, 1 counter on the Ravager. This will have 5 counters. Then I can go sack Darksteel Citadel, sack Mox Opal, sack Darksteel Citadel, sack Mox Opal. So this will be a total of 4 counters. So the Ravager has 8 power. Then the Ozolith is it's gonna be 9 power that I fly over. Then I just ballisted them to death. So it seems like that should work. Typically, if I find 1 lethal line, I stop counting. They already kind of showed us they don't have a surgical, so should be fine. I think I think I didn't even count the Cauldron counter anyways. You need to fly before eating Mox. I'm flying the Ravager, not the Zabaz. And I don't because the Cauldron gives me access to any color spending. I see what you mean. Nice, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, exiling 33 cards from my deck. I'm not going to board in Force of Vigor because it raises my mana curve. I might board in the Dismembers though. I guess I need this for bridge. I can just ping them if they have bridge though. Needle for Field of Ruins, kind of okay. I think it's probably something I want. I think I'll want the Welding Jar and then just be 62. If Zabaz ate the artifacts, we double the counters. Yeah, but we didn't have a Ravager under the Cauldron, so we couldn't do that. This is Nightmare Matchup historically. I know it might be bad or whatever, but I think it's fun. You just gotta have a good attitude. That's all it takes. I need a little bit of help with this hand, but I think we keep on 6 on the draw. I'm gonna go pee real quick too.
It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike. What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
I think I'll play out the Opal just so it doesn't get like consigned, maybe. Although I guess if they consign anything else, then I don't have Metalcraft anyways.
What's up? It's me, your friend, Aspiring Spike.
So the Miller Ozolith. They mill both Dismembers. It's funny. Two cards on the top, so we're probably getting Tasha's. Am I going to kill this crab? I think no, so that Hardened Scales is the lethal out. To actually do the Strength of Will combo, too. So a tap land. No Tasha's. I gonna play Hades 2? We're not gonna stream it today, but we are gonna play it. It's just been so crazy over here. We decided not to do the extra stream and have to do all the setup. But me and Esther may do a Hades 2 stream later when things die down a bit. But I'm gonna play it. Okay. So a little bit silly having lost the Ballista, I guess. I think it's lethal if you kill the crab because you can add a... Lethal this turn if I kill the crab? There's no way. You don't need scales since Strength of Will gives Instructable. Well, you have to the thing is you remove a counter and then you add a counter. So it's just it's counter neutral if you Strength of Will. So the extra pate, so I can't respond with the Cauldron. They exile my Zabazes. They're gonna do a basic land check. I should have one more forest in the deck. And they toshes me, and I probably die. Oh, I have 19 cards left. It only got like 23 cards. That's great. Drew a Boseiju. They didn't get my other forest, so I guess we pass. Alright, deleted. Game 3. Listen, they've already drawn 3 Tasha's Hideous Laughters. How can they draw more? I miss the elk sometimes. Well, you could have played in this deck. No, go away, Oko. I am not interested in an elk. I think I'm interested in playing the Ballista. So I can try to like get a Zabaz and like Ozolith some counters on there. Attack and ping. Might get Fatal pushed. One Emrakul in the Cyber Decks League. We'll see if we win this one. Although we got other decks we're gonna play. I don't know if we're gonna do another Scales League after this. Probably not. Or just make a token here. Token's pretty big. We're gonna get the camera. I don't feel like the camera is very good on this board. It's kind of fun with the Ozolith. So they counter the search. That seems okay. So I just have the Ozolith in my hand. Do I want to play Marketback Walker instead? I don't think so. I don't think I'm gonna level the Hangarback Walker either. I think I'm just attacking. No, sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot I could tap the construct for some reason. Yeah, I agree that the Affinity is like weirdly well positioned in the Pro Tour. It's like Affinity fell off so hard. I do expect people to just not have that much hate for it, which like weirdly is going to make it like kind of a good choice. So yeah, Affinity might be a sleeper hit here. Although Affinity is also just not that good against like Belcher's game plan. It's also just not that good against Goryo's game plan. Sometimes you just lose to Boros' game plan, so you know maybe that's not going to be the case, but at the very least their stuff might live. Yeah, I think the Ruby Storm gamer might do well too. Is it Wrath gonna still clear on affinities? Just be a good sideboard card to have. We'll see. We'll see. But like as far as like the metagame breakdown goes, like it doesn't seem like there's gonna be that many Rathas guys. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Like it's gonna be in Esper Goryo's, but not in obviously not in Belcher, which is really popular. I don't know what Dingo's playing. Dingo told me he was gonna play Neo 4 more Titan, and I didn't get the final result. I have 19 cards left. 3 mana do nothing. Don't know what's left in the deck to use Saga for. Let's see what we draw. Hopefully I have a Zabaz left. Seems like I do. One Zabaz left. Holy guacamole. So we're gonna upgrade the Walker. And then destroy the Walker. Put 3 counters on the Ozolith and grow the construct by a lot. And then I can either level up the Ballista, or I could kill the Marketback Walker and I could draw another card. Do I just have lethal? So this is 4, kill this, and I just have easy lethal, do it nothing else. So let's not think anymore. This 2-hour Scales League has been enough. I have VIP riding on the edge of my seat. Unfortunately, we only have mod slots left, so. GG's Text Collector. Good matchup. So 4-1 losing just to Red Belcher. I don't know. We did not cast a Strength of Will once, which is kind of the problem when you're testing new cards and you only play 5 matches. I fun to get a 4-1. We did not cast Strength of Will once. I do think I want to keep moving here because I'm so excited for the backup deck. Maybe we'll play another Scales League later. I do think the combo is interesting. There's also some other like Hardened Scales shells. Like we have Hardened Scales and Brood Scale. We could try Strength of Will in that deck too, because also just having the protection spell for Brood Scale is pretty interesting. So I maybe the next time we play the combo we'll do that. But there's a lot to get to. More to get to from the set than I thought. But this is my favorite deck so far. We're playing Yera. Wait, this is 2 creatures?